You ever sit down on a Sunday night and just wonder if this week is going to be the week that things click for you, that things finally start to make sense, or if you're just going to be busy spinning your wheels again? You're not alone. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to break down what actually matters in the market this week so that you can trade with confidence and not just with hope. All right, so on Friday of last week, Israel started bombing Iran over their nuclear capacity and stuff like that. And this has started a conflict in the Middle East that could turn into something major. We have no idea what's going to happen with the United States and with their involvement, if we're going to get involved at all, what this is going to do to oil prices. There's a bunch of unknown right now. And if you spend a lot of time on social media, everyone's going to have an opinion on what's going to happen. But I'm here to tell you that none of that matters. It doesn't matter what anyone says is going to happen. The only thing that matters for traders is what actually does happen. And the way that you're going to know what actually happens is to look at the charts. So let's talk about the charts for just a couple of minutes, okay? So when you look at the SPY chart, you can see that ever since we put the bottom in here back in April, we have been climbing pretty consistently. We have been in an uptrend characterized by higher highs and higher lows. And we have put in a higher high. We started a little bit of a pullback based on this news that came out Friday, but honestly, this news has not caused massive selling yet. Now, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know where we're going to open Monday. I don't know where we go from here. But what I do know is this: the trend is your friend until the end. Where does that trend line break? Well, the trend line breaks right here at this low of 575.60. So, as long as price is trading above that, we are still in an uptrend. And I do not personally change my bias until we are out of the trend. So we break below that level, I start to reconsider which direction the market is headed. But as long as we continue to put in higher highs and higher lows, we are in an uptrend. No matter what happens in the short term, no matter what happens tomorrow, no matter if we get a pullback this week or whatever. And so that is kind of the resistance or the support level that we're looking at right there. If we eventually break and we go higher from here, then we're looking at probably all-time highs here at around 613.23 is the next resistance level to the upside. Let's take a look at QQQ, and then we'll talk about this war and how it might impact things. Okay, so if you look at QQQ, you can see we have a very similar chart. It's been climbing, and it's been in an uptrend since the lows back in April. It's been putting in higher highs and higher lows. Last week we had a higher high. Got some selling pressure on Friday with the news of Israel, Iran, and that situation. And we can see that the this area right here is the trend line break to watch. So somewhere between 511 and 504 is the area that you want to watch. If we drop below that, then yeah, we start to question, are we still going to keep going higher from here, or are we going to have a bigger pullback? But until then, the trend is your friend until the end, and the next resistance level that we're going to be looking at is here about 540.81. All right, that is the next resistance level to the upside. So one of the things to keep in mind anytime there is a big news drop, either over the weekend or overnight, is the market never acts rationally. It's very irrational. And so immediately when news breaks, there tends to be overreactions in both directions, and people get scared. They see people talk on social media, they see people talk on the news, and the way that you lose a lot of money in the market is by reacting emotionally. The market punishes emotional reactions. And so what you want to do when you see this news is you want to just wait and see what's going on. And so for me, my plan going into this week is just to watch what the market does and trade the direction of the market. I don't care what people are saying is going to happen. I don't care what people think is going to happen. I don't care what people think is going to happen with oil prices or gold, or if the market's going to sell off, or if we're going to halt down. None of it matters. The only thing that matters is what actually does happen. And so what I do is I like to wait until we get some actual volume in the market. And so I'm not going to lose any sleep at all tonight, overnight, while the market does what it's going to do. I'm going to wait until the market volume comes in at open tomorrow, and then I will make informed decisions based on what is actually happening. And that's what I would recommend for you to do as well. Okay, so that's how I approach things. And so one of the things to keep in mind today is there's a good chance that QQQ and SPY, that the major indexes are going to be in play quite a bit this week. with this news. And so this is probably going to provide some good trading opportunities. And then when you pair that up with the FOMC event happening on Wednesday, we could have some great opportunities for some good volatility in the market, and volatility is a trader's best friend. So you're going to want to keep an eye on the indexes this week and keep those on your watch list for trading. Because with the war and with FOMC and with Jerome Powell speaking, there could be lots of fun price action this week, which I know traders love. Now let's talk about a couple of charts that I want to look at, give you kind of some trade ideas for the week ahead. The first one that I want to look at is I want to look at Korn Ferry, KFY. Korn Ferry is many times a fairly boring stock, if I'm just being honest, but they seem to have a pretty good history of steady earnings, and their earnings are taking place this Wednesday in the pre-market. Right now, they are trading right around the 50 exponential moving average. They are still trading above the 200 period moving average. And if they report decent earnings and decent guidance, this could be a great opportunity for you. There, right now, options are anticipating about a 7% move to the up or downside, depending on how this goes. And so this is something that I could really see providing some great opportunities going into the market on Wednesday. So the way that I like to trade plays like this is I like to let the news come out in the pre-market and let the dust settle, wait for about 15 minutes or so after the market opens, and then I look to see what's happening on the chart after the market volume has come in. And so there are a few different scenarios that could potentially have here. What I'm ultimately looking for is I'm looking for Korn Ferry to have as many beats as possible. So an earnings beat would be great, a revenue beat would be great, and a guidance increase would be great as well. Like if all of those things happen, like the more of those that can line up, the better opportunity Korn Ferry might provide. And so if we tend to get some good news with Korn Ferry in the pre-market, there are a couple of scenarios that could happen. This could be a sell the news event where it gaps down into a support level. And then what I would be looking, if that happens, if we gap down on good news, I would be looking for a potential trend day to set up to the upside. The other opportunity that might happen is if they have a great earnings report and it gaps up and then continues higher all day. And so you kind of have this move where we gap up, it never really looks back. I don't typically tend to try to chase those opportunities, but what I do is I watch those for the next couple of days afterwards, because a lot of times you'll get some continuation on the second or the third day after that news drops. And so if we gap up and we stay higher, I'd look for a potential trend day to set up over the next couple days at some point as well. And so a couple of trade opportunities that I would look at is I would look at the bread and butter trade, and I would look at the fashionably late trade. Those are two of the things that I teach that I think have great potential for Korn Ferry on Wednesday or the few days following, depending on how price reacts. Another name that I want to put on your radar is LegalZoom, LZ. All right, so you can see that we gapped up on LegalZoom back here at the beginning of May. And ever since we gapped up, we have been kind of consolidating in the range of this gap candle for over a month now. And there is a saying for traders that the longer the consolidation, the better the move. Okay, and so I like this one because we are sitting again near the 50 EMA. We are gapped up. We are in consolidation mode. And I like this company, just frankly, it's a cash flow positive company. It's got growing margins over the last few quarters. Revenue is growing. Guidance recently was positive, and this is an industry leader in the legal services industry. This is a company that people have heard of, and so this isn't some random company. This is a company that people know of, and they're going to look to get in on good news and stuff like that. And if you look at this currently, we are oversold on the 5-period RSI, and so I like this for the potential of option strategies. One of the ways that I will be looking for this is a company that I would not mind owning over the long term. And so if you look right now as I film this, July 18th, $8 puts are selling for around 45 cents a contract. So that's $45 in cold hard cash for every contract on a cash secured put. And if you look, the $8 mark is right around here. That also happens to be right around where the 200 exponential moving average is. And so you're talking about if you do get assigned on these shares, of course you have to have the money available and all of that kind of stuff. But if you get assigned on these shares, you're getting these shares at the 200 period moving average, or around the 200 period moving average, which is a pretty strong support level, which would make it a great opportunity for potentially selling calls to the upside as well. And so I like the risk to reward on this trade, because if you get them filled at $8, you're going to have and you can get these puts at somewhere around 45 cents a contract. You're going to have a pretty good cost basis on this, below $8, and I would hold on to it and potentially look to sell calls on it as well to the upside. And so this is just another trade opportunity that I wanted to place on your radar, because I like it, and I'll probably be looking to get in early this week, especially if this if the volatility and stuff will stay higher long enough for me to get into one of these trades while it's in oversold territory. All right, so that's what I'm looking at this week. Hopefully this is helpful for you. If you want like a full watch list from me, if you want daily trade ideas instead of just these weekly trade ideas that I put out, or if you want like a step-by-step game plan sent straight to your inbox every single week, I would encourage you to head over to my website. It is found at the link in the description. You can sign up for the free newsletter there. You can sign up for my trading community there, watch the free course and all of that kind of stuff. I'll see you over there.